So I wanted to talk a little bit about how I've been incorporating scripture into my life recently for spiritual growth and just intimacy with the Lord. But at the same time, I want to fold the laundry that my wife and I did. There is one thing I need to tell you though first before we jump in, because I like to keep these videos real and authentic, but there is something that's not authentic in this video. And that's, before I recorded this, I had to take out all of our underwear because we didn't really want to show that on camera. So that's in a bin on the floor. So that's the only thing that's not real in this video. So hopefully that doesn't bother you too much. So if there's something you're procrastinating too, feel free to do it with me because I didn't really want to fold this, but here we are. So I think recently one of the main things that I've learned with incorporating scripture into my life is if I'm not in the word daily, it's going to be harder for me to apply the word daily. It's easy for me to like show up on Sunday to like church and Tuesday nights to our young adults and like hear the word and be like, all right, good, like I can do this now, I got it. But then the next day or even like Thursday or some day where I'm not, I don't have something going on, it's like harder to because I'm not focused on that. So recently, my routine of getting the word has been really consistent, which looks like waking up pretty early, hopping in the word, spending time with the Lord there, and then getting ready for the workday. And before I leave for the workday, spending some time on the patio, journaling and praying. Right now, I am trying to read the entire Bible cover to cover because that's something I never did when I first became a Christian. It was something that I was like, I don't even know if it's possible. Like, I knew it was possible, but I was like, I didn't know if I was personally capable of it because the thought of reading the entire Bible was kind of, seemed a little like tedious for me and a little burdensome for me. So I was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe eventually I'll read the full Bible, but we'll see. So what really changed my perspective with reading the full Bible was, let me read for just 15 minutes a day rather than 4 chapters a day like some of the read the Bible in a year plans are. And let me just read for time instead of quantity. That helped me because it was really just like, okay, start the timer and see how far I can get within those 15 minutes rather than being like, all right, gotta make sure I get my 4 chapters in today. And so the past month, as I've been waking up early before work to get my reading done, I found myself going beyond just the 15 minutes that I originally was like, hey, let's set this goal and see if I can stick to it. I could find myself throughout the day sometimes remembering what I read earlier that morning as I'm going along throughout the workday and going through my routine that I have at my job. I honestly almost kind of think of it like when you're learning a skill where it's like use it or lose it, and not in the way where it's like, oh, you're gonna lose your salvation if you don't read every day. But I know myself, like if I'm not actively prioritizing my quiet time in the morning or spending time with the Lord, it's like I can just get bogged down with all the stuff that I have to do that day, or get stressed about what my schedule looks like before the day gets going. So having gotten in the Word first thing for the past month since I started doing this new rhythm has been really impactful for growing spiritually and personally with my walk with the Lord. I think the second thing that has been really helpful for applying the Bible to my life every day has been memorizing scripture, memorizing verses, because there'll be moments where I'm all of a sudden stressed or anxious, and I think of like Philippians 4, 6, and 7, or there'll be times where I do fight through temptation. I think of like 1 Corinthians 10:13, talking about enduring through the temptation. And so having scripture that you can just not on command, that sounds like a dog. Just having scripture that you can easily think about in the situations that you're in has been, for me, super impactful. I think another thing that's been helpful for me to do this has been journaling in the morning. So like I said before, I'll spend some time in the Word reading where I'm at currently in the Bible, and then I will shower and get ready for work, and then afterwards make some coffee and head out to the patio or balcony and journal. And so what I do with my journaling is I'll write the date at the top of the page or the part of the journal I'm in. I'll write down what I'm grateful for. I usually do like 8 things. No specific reason for 8, but it just how it just looks aesthetically pleasing on my notebook. And so after I write down the 8 things I'm grateful for, I will write a little title that says memory verse. And this is something I've only done the past couple of weeks, where I try to have a verse that I memorize for that week. And I'll write out what the memory verse is. So this week it's Galatians 5:16 and 17. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, so don't test me, don't quiz me, because I won't be able to give the answer. And I'll just read the verse and try to memorize it, try to recite it out loud to myself. And then after that, I'll go into a little bit of, I write it as prayer, and I'll use this section to either jot out some prayers that I'm actually thinking about or reflecting on and want to share with the Lord, or what I'll do is I'll write out some of the pre-written prayers that are found in Scripture. Recently, my wife and I, the community group that we're in, they kind of gave us this challenge to spend the week praying a pre-written prayer. So that could look like Psalm 23, which is what we're doing together. It could also look like the Lord's Prayer. And another one that I'm incorporating that's been helpful is a short snippet in Psalm 139, verses 23 and 24. And just having those verses to pray out loud to the Lord and reflect on has been a way to have words for prayer when sometimes I don't have words for prayer. I think what's fun about this is that each time, like every morning when I write down like, oh, Psalm 23, oh, Psalm 139, 23 and 24, and I recite them, there's something always a little bit different that stands out. So it could just be a word, or it could be like a phrase that stands out that's different than the week prior or the day prior. And I think that's also the beauty and another benefit of having pre-written prayers found in Scripture that you can pray yourself. And then from there, the last thing that I do is have a reflections section. And what I'll do with this is I'll write the word reflections, and then underneath I'll write the time that I'm submitting the little journal entry, and then I'll keep it blank. I won't have a specific, okay, I'm only going to write 1 page of journal entries today, and I'll just leave that space free. It could be 5 pages that I write that day, or it could just be 1 single entry. And I try to make this the last section because of that reason. So it could be 7:30 that I do the first entry, and then it's noon during my lunch break, and then it's 4:30 before the end of the workday, where I just kind of regroup and say, okay, what did I think were wins today? What do I think were losses today, or things I could have done better? And I just allow that section to be as long or as short as it needs to be. I think what's been really fun about doing this every morning has been not that every time I sit on the balcony and spend time before work meditating and praying with the Lord has been this life-changing spiritual high moment, but it's that discipline to just do it consistently and consistently show up. And then to look back like 2 weeks ago when I was doing it and seeing, man, what was I processing with the Lord then? And what am I processing now with the Lord? Also seeing like, okay, what verses was I thinking about 2 weeks ago, and what verses and what am I praying to the Lord now this week? And I think similar to like making goals, they all say like, oh, if you want to achieve your goal, make sure you write it down. And I think that's been a little bit of what this journaling has done too, as I do it every day, where it's like, I'm writing this down, so I'm more likely to remember it, more likely to actually act on it and apply it in my daily life. Let me know what you're reading and how you're applying it, and thanks for joining me as I fold my laundry today, or at least some of my laundry today.